That man being Peyton Manning. Okay, so everybody knows I was very lucky, very, very lucky that I was drafted to a team that Peyton Manning was the face of. Whenever I was drafted to be a punter, a position that I knew nothing really about until I got drafted by the Indianapolis Colts to join the Colts in 2009, I knew I was arriving at a team that had an absolute GOAT as a quarterback. Then, obviously, I've talked about the first day I met him, where I met all the other OGs on the team. They came over. How's it going? I'm like, oh, very nice to meet you, Jeff Saturday, Dallas Clark, Gary Brackett, Adam Vinatieri. Then this man from the other side of the locker room came walking over. He had like khaki shorts on, boat shoes, a collared shirt, the glasses that connect around the neck thing. It was in the middle of spring. He goes, hi, my name's Peyton Manning. And I told him, yeah, no, shoot, you're Peyton Manning. Very nice to meet you. He was an absolute gentleman. He invited me to go on a golf trip before he even really knew me. And in that same golf trip, he told me to bet on red 18 because he had a feeling at the craps table and red 18, or not the craps table, but roulette, and red 18 hit for a massive payday. But without him even knowing that it hit, he walked away knowing that it was going to hit. I mean, Peyton Manning was a great teammate, a great teammate. Peyton Manning, post-career, playing in the NFL, he's been a pizza salesman. He's been an insurance salesman. He's been a hilarious actor. He's been able to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. He hosts a show on ESPN that they've been airing basically during the days Peyton Places. It has 10 episodes. It's his or maybe 30 episodes. It's this huge thing. He's had success with every single thing that Peyton Manning has ever tried to do. Saturday Night Live, everybody says it's the greatest athlete edition of Saturday Night Live in its history. You're talking about a pizza deal where he got out of it right before Papa John Schnatter, decided to ruin his entire company. Peyton was already out of it. Everything that Peyton has done has been the right move. And if you really look at it from afar or from close, you'll just be like, you know what? That guy makes a lot of good decisions, not just on the football field. That guy could run for president if he wanted to, and I think he would win, by the way, because that's how Peyton operates. And when Peyton was offered up Monday Night Football last year, in the year before that, there was always reasons. He didn't want to have to critique Eli on a Monday Night Football game because he loves his brother. Okay, that was always what the public reasoning was. Then last year was the same thing. Then this year, whenever they went after Tony Romo, and Tony Romo said, no, I'm staying at CBS. And then whenever they want to try to trade for Al Michaels from NBC, and it came out that NBC said, no, thank you, Peyton Manning was the person that ESPN wanted for Monday Night Football. The Jason Witten thing didn't go great. The Booger McFarland thing didn't go great. The internet let them know that these were bad choices, and they were going to go all in this year, first with Tony Romo, now with Peyton Manning. They're saying they were going to pay him $20 million a year to be the Monday Night Football color commentator. Now, I will say that the commentator schedule is much worse than you could imagine. You are in that city for 3 days, both before and afterwards. You're kind of just, you're meeting, you're doing this. It's a job. It's a real job. It's not like you just show up unprepared and just kind of do your thing. There is a time commitment involved. So if you're retired, it might not be something you want to do. But for $20 million a year in one of the most prime time positions in all of football, the name Peyton Manning being in Monday Night Football would have been massive for everybody. For NFL fans, it would have been great to hear old Peyton Manning's brain spew out onto the national network whenever the game's being played. It would have been nice to hear him break down things that he's seeing, just like Tony Romo's able to do. It would have been nice to have Peyton Manning in there, but now for the third time, Peyton Manning has said no to him. One day before his 44th birthday, he turned down a potential 5-year, $100 million deal to do Monday Night Football. And I want to say to Peyton Manning that I'm bummed about that. I think he would have been very, very good in there. But do all roads for this Monday Night Football job lead to me? Do all roads just lead to me? I'm not 100% sure, and I'm probably going to get yelled at for even talking about this by who knows who knows what. I'm sure some people will judge. But do all roads come through Indianapolis, Indiana for that Monday Night Football? I mean, we're at the point now where nobody wants the job. Now, granted, I'm sure there's a lot of players out there that would love to get that gig, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love, because it's the Super Bowl every week. It's different. It's on Monday night. It is I mean, it's a big deal. And boy, what a massive role that's just sitting out there. And they have not hit on the last two. I think they think that. I think the world thinks that. And I don't think that's Booger McFarland's fault or Jason Witten's fault. I just think it's a scenario where you got a lot of eyes on you. So when you get thrown in the deep end there, you have to be able to swim. And if you struggle at all, people are going to say, there seems to be a lack of confidence, a lack of a lot of things in there. And people will notice it. But boy, what are they going to do with that role? Nobody knows. But there's this company in Indianapolis, Indiana that just keeps on chugging along. And every day that passes, the price goes up. That's just what happens. It's just the way it goes. There's no way I'll get offered that gig. But I'm excited to see who they end up with. Now that they've tried Tony Romo, they've tried Peyton Manning, haven't been able to get him. Who will they be able to get? I'm excited to see.
You being the humble human that you are, you've always said there's no way you get that job. But when
it's not humble. It's because I already said that nobody can touch me on a microphone. So that's not really that humble. It's just more of like a reality type thing. You know what I mean?
Confident.
I'm very confident. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody that can really keep up with me, especially whenever I put it into a top gear like this. There's people that will be listening like, he needs to slow down if he's going to talk about my football team out there. It's like, well, you need to speed up your listening, then and it won't be that big of a problem, would it? So sorry to interrupt. If you're a man watching this, you deserve to have long, great. And you can do that now with our friends at Roman. Right now, you go to GetRoman.com. You get $10 off and free 2-day shipping on Roman swipes, which are guaranteed to make you have longer, more fulfilling every time you get in the sack. Now, let's get back to the fornicating action. But yeah, it's a realistic thing. There's no way they would give that.
All right, well, even saying that, like when the odds came out a month or so ago when they were trying to trade for Michaels and blah, 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 there was Romo, Manning, and then the third favorite was McAfee. Like,
Vegas isn't.
It's a real thing, I think.
They know.
It's a grassroots groundswell for McAfee.
Mm-hmm. You were plus 450.
The bureaucracy
Same
may
as
not
Peyton.
want it, but the people want it.
You know, you win the mob, you win Rome. That's what we've always said. You know, that's like a quote. But I'm not 100% sure that particularly matters when it comes to this type of world. You remember, there's only a few people that are in charge of these things, right?
Right.
There's only a few people. Now, will they hire somebody that'll be intriguing for fans? I think there's a couple candidates out there that you could potentially go get. I think there's a couple people that could go get it. But boy, I think all they're worried about is 100% saving the legacy of Monday Night Football. I mean, they have to at this point. Like Joe Tessitore, Booger McFarland, for whatever reason, it was not well received by people. Whatever reason you're thinking in your head, okay? Probably the reason why, and by the way, there's numerous reasons, but it just wasn't well received by some people. I didn't hate it because I like Joe. I've never really met Boog, but I like Joe as a person, so I didn't hate it, but people did, right? In the Witten one, same thing. I mean, for whatever reason, the Witten one did. So this one, they have to hit on for the legacy of Monday Night Football. And whenever you're getting publicly turned down, that's a very interesting scenario to be in there. What do you do next? You're like, all right, do we shoot our shot at the moon again? Do we try to make this all public so everybody knows? Al Michaels can't do it. Tony Romo says no. Peyton says no. That's not a great look, I don't think.
I mean, they're being dominated by every other network. Every other network has this A team that is very good. And ESPN can't find someone to compete with that right now.
It's like Herbie is so good. Herb Street is so good. But he's the voice of college. Right. He's the actual voice of college football. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's the difference between ESPN and everybody else is their A team is actually on the college football, thing. Now, granted, were they assuming that Monday Night Football gig would be the A booth? I would assume so. But whenever you got Herbie, when Herb Street is speaking, he's so smooth, by the way. And I feel like he's got 2 remotes on those telestrators. I feel like he's got it all down, you know what I mean? But I will be excited to see what they do with that. Will they try to pluck somebody from another from another network again? Will they try to move up throughout? Or will they try to talk somebody who has done nothing out of, like Jay Cutler, for instance? He hasn't really been in the football world. Do you go get Jay Cutler? Because he's built up a cult following. If he knows football as well as I would assume an NFL quarterback knows football, he could potentially be a guy that could do good in there.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Let's say they do pick you. Who would you want in the booth with you?
I love Steve Levy.
Oh, yep.
I absolutely love Steve Levy. And by the way, even whenever I put out a tweet about Monday nights being open and Andrew Marchand from the Post talked about how it's not couth to talk about somebody else's role. It's like, I'm okay being the third person in there. Like, I'm very okay being the third person in the booth. Now, granted, do I think I could be the only guy? I think I could. I absolutely think I could. But if it's going to get some legitimacy to have an NFL quarterback in there, and then my questions that I'll be able to get out of that person will be good too, But I love Steve Levy. I love Orlovsky. I love Hasselbeck. Everybody knows that. I feel like me and Hasselbeck hit a nice groove there in that college football thing where we knew nothing about those players.
Bad football games.
We knew nothing about those people. We had a good time. I mean, I think that is what I will say. Those games were a good time, like learning how to do it and stuff like that. But we were hitting a groove right as soon as it was ending, and then I didn't get to do the bowl game with them because I was part of the Cheez-It Bowl.